Welcome back to the Checkswing podcast with myself. You know who I am. It's not the 10-7 show. What are you doing? There we go. It's the Checkswing podcast with myself and with the star of the show, the brains behind the operation. Coach Santa is with us. He's in the building. What's up, Coach Santa?
Greetings and salutations.
Absolutely. You know how that is. And so, um, quite a week it's been in sports. We got a lot of things that we're going to talk about. A lot of things that we didn't put in the notes that just came to my mind, just like flooded my memory just now as we started the show. So
Perfectly fine.
you may have to reel me back in a few times today. But
Perfect.
we are back here on the Check Swing podcast, and of course, I like to start off the show by asking my people how they've been. So, Miguel, how you been? It's been a week. How you been?
Um, I'll tell you what, in a moment of transparency, it's been a challenging week, just dealing with grown up stuff. And I think that's the reason why we kind of, you know, lean on sports and wrestling and UFC to take us out of our own realm of reality every once in a while. So, but challenging week dealing with some grown up stuff. But other than that, not bad.
Okay, all right, and you're making it through. So, you know,
I'm
yeah,
still alive.
you're still here. You're still here.
That's it.
Um, like I said, interesting week. The Rangers won the World Series. You know what, Miguel? Really, to me, it seemed like it was not a lot of fanfare behind the Rangers winning that World Series.
You know what's sad is the first three games were actually really good. And it looked like it was setting up for it to go six, maybe seven. But when Texas just took over, had some clutch hits and some surprisingly stellar pitching and defense. They just kind of ran away with it. So
Hmm.
it was kind of disappointing that the Diamondbacks couldn't hang with them, but they're going to be a formidable team for quite some time, providing that there's no injuries and they don't blow it up. Kind of like the Padres are starting to already talk about. So
Yeah, they're going to be an interesting team going forward, and they're young too. So it's going to be
yeah,
very interesting outside of Evan Longoria, but they're going to be interesting going forward. It's funny to think about like he was playing when the Phillies won their World Series. He played against the Phillies when they won the World Series in '08.
I know.
It really doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but let's put it this way: everybody that was on the Phillies, I think, is retired.
Yes.
So think about that, because Cole Hamels just retired. This was his first year out of baseball, right?
Yeah, Cole Hamels retired. Yeah, this year
Yeah.
he sure did.
So, and he was the youngest on the Phillies. Um, but we also had the news of, and I didn't get to ask you this question beforehand, Miguel, and I want to ask you the question. I'm going to put you on the spot when I ask you this question, but we also had the death of Bobby Knight, college basketball coach, analyst, and he was 80 years old, I believe, Miguel. I keep wanting to say 88, but I think he was 80.
He was
Yeah,
83.
83. Okay, he was
Yeah.
83 years old. So, um, and I wanted to pose this question to you earlier, and I apologize for putting you on the spot. But how will you remember Bobby Knight? Will you remember him as a great college basketball coach or as a bully? Like I mean, how would you lean?
I think both. And it's like, well, how can you be both? Um, because he coaches in a style that I'm totally against. You know what I mean? And he did produce results until he put his hands on somebody. But he's had some great quotes over the years. Like it's one of the quotes that I always remember from him, or that's been credited to him, is that it's not the will to win; it's the will to prepare to win.
Mm,
Um, and he was known for having a great moving offense that didn't rely on just one person scoring the ball. He had great defensive teams. Um, so definitely a lot of respect from the coaching side of things, but from the side of being a humanitarian, maybe not so much. And I think people do forget too that one of the great he was actually the coach of one of the greatest NCAA coaches of all time in Krzyzewski, because I believe he coached him at West Point, if I'm not mistaken.
Um, was he the coach? I have to look that up. I'm not. I'm not
So he
exactly
coached it.
on
He
it, but I
coached
feel
at
like
Army. Yeah, he was the Mike Krzyzewski was his starting point guard
okay.
at West Point.
Gotcha.
But I think there was an interview with Krzyzewski saying that they probably would never work together in their lifetimes. So
Really? I mean,
yeah,
was there like a reason for that?
probably because they had two pretty distinct coaching styles, pretty different coaching styles.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I feel like they both coached Team USA.
yeah, but with the temper that um, Knight had, I don't think that would have rubbed the players the right way, especially today's players,
Okay.
because he's a
Oh
yeller, a
yeah,
screamer.
yeah, yeah. We'd be very different today. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, and I'll answer the question as well. I think I will remember. I'll probably remember him more as a bully.
yeah.
Um, one of the things that opened my eyes to his style, though, that I kind of wanted to mimic in my coaching style was when he had his, I don't know if you call it a reality show at the time, but it was like a show, a documentary or something like that. When he went to Texas Tech, when he was coaching Texas Tech,
Hmm.
he coached and he had classroom sessions.
Hmm.
And I don't remember if we did it when you were here, but I tried to implement classroom sessions.
Yeah, my last season there, we did the classrooms.
Okay.
I do remember that.
So, that was something I took from him, a piece I took from him. But, just the way he was portrayed as a bully. They wanted him to analyze on ESPN because he could talk sternly and kind of be a bully.
But I mean, is that a portrayal or is that just him?
So I don't know him personally, so I can't really say, you know what I mean? I can't say that's him, but that's how so I had to say it's a portrayal because that's how he's always portrayed. They show him choking the kid, they show him throwing the chair across the floor, they show him doing, the yelling and talk, they show all the things that he's done and he's known for doing.
Mhm.
People forget that, especially I feel like in my generation, kind of forget that he was this great basketball coach. Coached Isaiah Thomas as well.
Yeah, and I think they had like a whatchamacallit, a some sort of reunion on his behalf back in 2020, and all the players came back, and he didn't look too good then. I believe he was starting to suffer from effects of Alzheimer's. Um, but yeah, it was kind of overwhelming to see all those players, those ex players that were like they would live and die for the dude, and I'm like, is this like Stockholm syndrome? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I mean, but they all love him. They love the guy. So um,
yeah, it's not something I could do. You know what I mean? I can't sit there and players that have played with me. They know I'm not a yeller and a screamer. But at the same time, like I just couldn't. I couldn't make a player feel like they were nothing. You know what I mean? And that
yeah,
because for him to talk to people in the press like that, and he talks to his players like that. You know what I mean? It just
mhm.
never sat well with me. Um, it doesn't matter how great you are, but it's like if that is your MO, you know, I don't know.
Who's worse with the press? Bobby Knight, Belichick, or I just lost his name after the coach for the Spurs, Popovich.
See, but they're different though. Like they can be snooty, but I mean, like Bobby Knight would call you out of your name. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
like there was an interview he did when I think after he left Texas Tech, he was at another college for a couple of years, 1 or 2 years, and he called the guy an MF for asking the question on live ESPN, uh, television, and it's like
Mhm.
I can't see Popovich or Belichick doing that. You know what I mean?
Nah, me either. You're absolutely right about that. So, no such thing as dumb question, but that was a dumb question.
No, or as Chris Berman says, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There are stupid people that ask questions.
Yeah, there's that too. Um, there was something else. Oh, something else I wanted to mention that we hadn't talked about at all. James Harden's out of here. They traded James
Uh,
Harden,
in a word of
and
every Philly fan, goodbye, good riddance, and enjoy LA.
yeah, enjoy LA. There are. I'm not going to ask you. What do you think about the team after the trade or anything like that? You can give your opinion if you want to. But I'm going to say there are people that did not like the trade. Um, and they feel like they didn't get enough for James Harden. They feel like they got nothing for James Harden. I personally feel like that there was a great trade made. I feel like the Sixers made out. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw the terms of the trade, I said, "Damn, did Howie Roseman make this deal?" Because this was like a Howie Roseman trade, in my opinion. But um, were you happy to get that news a couple mornings ago?
Yes, because we can stop hearing about the mood of James Harden and I was watching something earlier today, and it was talking about how this is pretty much his MO. He'll play great for 3 months, realize that he's not the main superstar, then he'll stop playing, he'll demand a trade, he'll gain weight, wear a fat suit, and then get traded to another team and repeat the cycle. Because he did it in Houston, then he got to Brooklyn, he did it in Brooklyn, got to Philly, and now he's you know, in his home in LA. So, and at the end of the day, it's a locker room thing. It's a chemistry thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If you're gonna
Yeah,
build a chemistry, good luck with him and working with is head coach out there is what, Tyronn Lue?
yes, Tyronn
Okay. Yeah, they're gonna lose.
Lue. So they have a good squad on paper, right? They have the type of squad on paper that you would put together in a video game, where it doesn't really matter who gets the points, who has the ball. I'm going to be very interested in seeing how this works out there. There's a lot of guys that need the ball to be effective, so I'm
But
interested in seeing how it works.
what did he say that he's not a system player? He is the system.
That's what he said. So he's
Some
going to unleash
garbage
him.
like
Eh,
you know.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, I get what he's saying, and I'm not, and my mantra is always I don't like coaches that have systems per se, but
Mhm.
because I believe like you have to coach based on the talent that you have, the players that you have. Um, but and I understand it's the NBA, and the NBA is kind of a different beast. Like pretty much the players run the league. But if you're really about the chip, if you're really about winning and winning a chip, in every case, there's always some sacrifice. You have to give up something to get something, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
say what you want about LeBron or there's not too many players, athletes in any league in any sport that don't win championships without giving something up. And I'm not talking about just one championship. I'm talking about multiple championships.
Right.
Like
Right.
if you look at Tom Brady, mad respect to him. He's the GOAT, whatever. But what people don't realize is that he played what, 20 years? And I think he was never at any point the highest paid quarterback in history. Or was he not like he may have been top 10, but he was never like the highest paid. But that was a sac. I mean, granted, he also was married to a model that probably made more than him. But um, it's you gotta sacrifice to win.
Absolutely do, and that could be a reason James Harden hasn't won yet. I don't know. Um, he's had opportunities in Houston. He's reunited with a teammate that he had in Houston and in Oklahoma City in Russell Westbrook. He joins Kawhi Leonard and he joins Paul George. Now, what I really want to talk about in that situation is really I want to talk about the Sixers, and I'm in the minority when I say this, and I really want people to think about what I'm about to say, and instead of having an emotional reaction to, really think about what I'm saying.
Oh,
I think right now, it's currently constructed, the Philadelphia 76ers are a title contender.
this year's Sixers.
The Sixers right now, today, at November the 3rd at 8:49 p.m. Now,
Okay.
I know that there's probably going to be some more moves made or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that they are going to win the title. Okay, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to come out here and blow teams out. I'm not saying they're the '96 Bulls or whatever years you want to put on it, the 2001 Lakers, nothing like that. But what I'm saying is, I think that they could contend for a title as currently constructed right now.
And you're not under the influence, and you're not under duress.
I cannot confirm nor deny either one of those statements, but what I can confirm is I've been thinking it since the trade was made. So no matter what condition I'm under right now, I've been thinking it for the last few days.
And as usual, we appreciate your honesty.
Because I mean, like when I think about it, and I'm gonna make it real short so we can get to the rest of what we're talking about. At the beginning of the season, if you ask me where I have the Sixers ranked in the East, I have them ranked third in the East. Okay, behind Milwaukee and Boston, or Boston and Milwaukee. If you ask me right now where I have the Sixers ranked, I have them ranked third in the East, right behind Milwaukee and Boston. I don't think they got any worse with this trade. I think they got better with this trade. I think they got stronger. They got defenders that are they got defenders that are offensively better than PJ Tucker. They got two guys with championship level experience. They got a young guy, a young flyer and defender, and they got a guy in Robert Covington who's interchangeable, and his game is better than it was when he left Philadelphia. So all that being said, with everything else that's still on this team, I think the Sixers are a title contender.
From your mouth to God's ears.
There you go. All right. So Miguel,
Sir.
you did like 100% of the planning of this show.
It's not true.
No, when I look at the notes, you did all this. You did all the notes when I'm looking at
Well, I
it.
mean, this is it's one big talking point, but it's not that deep per se.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you introduce what we're talking about because you did the hard work on it.
Which one?
You pick it. I'm looking at the notes now, and I'm just saying, I'm looking here at everything now. I'm just saying, you decide. You decide where we're going with the show today.
Well, we might as well open up the wounds since the Phillies just lost or not just, but they came up short in this year's season, so we can kind of start with the post mortem. Looking back at the Phillies 2023, um, where they wound up. Now we're in the off season. One of the big questions is free agency, of course, because this is Aaron Nola's turn to test free agency. So I guess the first question or the first point of discussion is like, do you resign Nola? Because if you now you know me, right? How many years we've done this show for what, 3 years now? And
You been doing it that long? Wow.
2 years, maybe two and a half. How many times have I in the show 19, in the show 20, in the show 21? He's usually the first person I trade. Um, and I wish I think I was willing to trade him mid-season this year, and he had a hell of a September and a hell of a division series and wild card series. But I think he came up short again in a game that we really needed him to. Um, so I don't know that it's necessarily a loss. But if we're trying to win World Series or be competitive in World Series, you need someone or someone's to be clutch in the playoffs in big games.
Yeah, you do need that. Um, so you're saying you're not bringing him back?
I think I'm gonna pass, and I'm only saying that too because of there's one or two pitchers that I'd be willing to take a chance on, one that had a pretty good season, and wants to stay in the East Coast because of family reasons. He was one that actually turned down a trade to go to the Dodgers last summer or this past summer, which wound up being good for him. Um, so I think there's other options out there that we could expand the bullpen a little bit.
Expand the bullpen.
So I got the
So
two.
you're not going after a starter?
Yeah, I'd go after. So there's the two starters I'm thinking of are Marcus Stroman. He's a starter for the Cubs. He
Mhm.
um, pitched on Team Puerto Rico in the WBC World Baseball Classic, and then I'd go after Eduardo Rodriguez, who was a pitcher for the for the Tigers, because he went 13-9, had a 3.30 ERA, which was actually better than Aaron Nola's, by the way. Um, and he struck out 143 and 152. So he's not a big K guy, but he's 30 and he wants to stay in the East Coast. So why not?
30, and he wants to come to the East Coast because I mean
He wants
Chicago it is Midwest, but he wants to come East Coast or he just wants
he
to
wants
stay
to
out.
he wants to stay as close as he can to the East Coast because he was drafted or he started with the Red Sox, then he got traded to Detroit. And he had an opportunity. He was actually traded to Los Angeles at the trade deadline, and he vetoed the trade.
Gotcha. Okay. Um,
And he's a lefty. You know how I like lefties.
I would I would probably sign Nola, but I would, and it might not even be possible. I would also look for a number two pitcher. Like I don't know, could be a sign and trade. Maybe Nola will have a no trade clause. I don't know, but I would look for a solid number two pitcher. Nola seems like I mean, he has his moments where he looks amazing, and then he has his moments where you don't know what's going on. Um, and he seems like a slow starter. And I'm not talking about game wise. I'm talking about season wise. Seems to start off very slow in the beginning of the season.
Well, the knock on him too is that he pitches best in the heat because he's from Louisiana. So um, I think that, and again, that's probably the reason why he came up short in the playoffs. Is he's not really a cold weather pitcher per se. So he
Right.
might be better off playing for one of the Florida teams or going out into Cali and doing what California people do. Um,
Maybe I mean that's possible. But I feel like at this point in his career, I don't know how I don't remember how long he's been in the league, but at this point in his career, he's going to have to get beyond that because he can be pitching in the cold at any time.
so would you, if you had to pick between keeping Nola and keeping Hoskins, because he's a free agent too, do you?
That's a good
Now
question.
Hoskins is in a unique situation in the fact that Harper made the move over to first base. Other than a few kind of faux pas, he's still getting used to the position. Needs to pick the ball a little bit better, but I think he's athletic enough that he'll get that position down. So if Harper says he wants to stay at first, do you ask him gently to go back to the outfield or DH and then trade either Castellanos or Schwarber?
Damn, you really just going to lay it out there like that, huh?
You are the GM.
Okay, so let me just put some situations out there for my answer. Um, if if um, if Bryce Harper wants to play first base, I'll let him play first base, and I'm putting I know you're going to kill me for this, but I'll put Reese Hoskins out and left.
No,
I mean, he's a natural left fielder.
he's not a natural left fielder.
He was a left fielder when he came up.
Yeah, but he wasn't natural at it, and he was garbage, and it affected his hitting.
Well, I mean, we're looking at him at first base. I mean, where you want to make a mistake?
I don't want him.
Well, this is my answer, so you can't have
Oh, excuse me.
you can't have your time yet.
I'm sorry.
If Bryce says I want to be back in right field, I'll put Reese at first, and I'll live with it. But I don't want Schwarber. But yeah, I don't want Schwarber in left, so I'm putting Castellanos in left. Or I might
So
put Bryce in left because I don't know what his arm's going to be coming up. Coming off this surgery and all like that.
I was thinking about that too. Like, but I would definitely put, because usually left field is where, at least in the big leagues, is the where your weakest arm is.
Right, and I don't know what his arm is going to be. I don't even really think I saw him make a throw from first base. I don't remember seeing one like a legit throw to make a play.
I don't know that he had the opportunity to really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Uh,
I don't remember seeing it at all. Um, but if I can have that bat in my lineup, I want that bat in my lineup. That's the type of team that they are. That's the team that took them to the World Series. Um, I want that bat in my lineup. So I'm signing Royce. Royce. I'm signing Reese, and I guess I'm going to have to let Nola go, even though he's also part of the team that got us to the World Series.
hmm.
So to answer your question, in to answer your question for you, you're keeping Nolan and letting Reese go.
No, I am letting go of both of them.
That wasn't an option, man. You cheating.
I'm not. Oh, okay. No, that's fair. That's fair.
You sound like some people that I know that answer a would you rather question on 10-7 show.
Or Cowboys fans. Yeah, I apologize. If I had to choose, if a gun to my head and I had to choose, so
You did it to yourself, man.
I did this to myself.
You
Oh, I hate them both.
did. Yeah, we're just gonna watch you fall asleep here.
You don't make. What'd you say?
I said we're gonna watch you fall asleep over there.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. What makes it so difficult is that neither one of them. I I know Reese hit a couple big home runs prior to the World Series, but nothing in the World Series. I guess I'm thinking too much about the big game, the World Series, and how everybody came up short. You know what I mean? I think that's the overreaching thing. It would have been different if you know they were clutch, they were hitting in moments and stuff like that. But I can't get past that. I can't get past that Nola gave up all those home runs on just big fat curve. They were like lazy curve. You know what I mean? And then in the World Series, Hoskins striking out all those damn times. I I'm not putting Hoskins in left, but if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably keep Hoskins. If that was my only option.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Otherwise, I would sign Josh Bell to play first base since he's a switch hitter.
I
Sorry,
like Josh Bell.
he's 6'4". He's played first base all his life, and he had a great series against us when he was on the Marlins. Um, he's a switch hitter. I'll keep saying that.
He played pretty well when he was on the Padres against us too.
He did. He played us pretty tough. Streaky though, but again, when you're hitting from both sides of the plate, it's one less move that you have to make. You know what I mean, as a coach.
Right. Right.
Um, so I like that matchup better. And then you can do whatever you want with Harper.
Now you want to know about trading Castellanos or Schwarber.
For me, that one's more. That's definitely an easy answer for me.
So for me, it's not an easy answer. You have to give me options of who am I trading these people for? I'm not trading Castellanos, so you gotta give me Harper. I mean, excuse me, Schwarber.
Right, same here. Um, I would look at. I mean, not that they would do it, but if you can get Soto.
Hmm.
Um, I'm lukewarm on Trout only because of the issues he's had the last couple of years with his back. That kind of seems skeptical to me.
Hmm.
But I'm sure they would love to do that. um, and I keep forgetting that Otani is a free agent too. But we'll get to free agents later. Um, but yeah, Schwarber would be on the trading block. I'd try to get maybe some bullpen help.
Hmm.
Um, to kind of shore things up to replace uh who's that bum?
You said
That,
what? What
that
was the last thing you said?
who was that bum that blew the two saves? Kimbrel.
Kimball? Well, he was only on a 1 year deal anyway. I believe
Yeah, you're right. He was on a 1 year deal.
10
Absolutely.
million. So I'm pretty sure I would be surprised to see him back.
Dude, don't you wish we were in shape enough to just be a bench player signing a 1 year $10 million deal?
Absolutely. In any sport. I
That's a lot of Bojangles.
don't care what the sport is. I wish I was in shape enough to be that person. Um, you have here Scott Kingery era. Oh,
Yep. And actually, so that was the option right before the show started. It actually is official. He's no longer a Philly. So the Phillies bought out his contract. So long story short, for those that don't know who the great Scott Kingery was, um, Scott Scott Kingery was this prospect for the Phillies. I think it was the first year under what was his name? Coconut Oil.
Um, I always forget his name, but wasn't he a number one pick?
He was a top pick. I don't know if he was number
Or was
one.
that Moniac? One of them was like a number one
Moniac was a number one
pick.
pick.
Okay, all right.
Um, and of course he was traded. So yeah, Kingery got uh a a fair, not a big contract, but Kapler said that we need to get this guy signed. He's going to be long term starter, whatever. And went to this guru that also trained Aaron Judge, and who's taking a whole bunch of credit for Aaron Judge's success, even though he's a fish oil specialist. Um, but he completely ruined the career of Scott Kingery because he taught him how to kind of hit on an upper plane. So basically teaching him how to uppercut so he get that launch angle going. So I think the 1 year he hit like 15, 16 home runs, so it was very promising. And he since then he just has not been able to figure out how to hit. He can't hit anything.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because he came with very high praise, high acclaim, and he had a couple moments in the bigs,
Yep.
but never really other people stuck like Rojas, Cave, to a lesser extent Pache.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Ruff probably gets more big league time than him. Absolutely gets more big league time than him. What I don't I man, you just explained what happened, but wow. I mean, there was so much built up for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was supposed to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just never happened. Never happened. And the
So
funny thing is, I thought Scott Kingery was out of Philly anyway, because I thought he got traded, but that was Moniac that got traded.
right.
For whatever reason, I was confused the two. Um, and Moniac was traded in the Marsh deal, wasn't he?
No, he we drafted him.
No, we traded. What I'm saying is we traded Moniac to get Marsh, didn't we? That was part of the
Yes,
yeah,
because he was traded. We traded him. Marsh was an angel.
right. Yeah. So some things you got down here. What are we looking at down these with Teoscar Hernandez, Cody Bellinger,
So that was
Marcus?
just a list of some free agents, some potential free agents.
Mm-hmm.
So I already mentioned Stroman and Rodriguez as possible pitching replacements for Nola. Um, so Hernandez, he was the right fielder in Seattle. He kind of had a down year, but I think he could hit really well at Citizens Bank. Um, Cody Bellinger, who I believe is on only a 1 year show me deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's what did he do? He had 307. He had his slash line's 307, 356, 525, 26 home runs and 97 RBIs for the Cubs. The only issue is just money because he's looking at probably between 23 and 25 million a year. Um, and that's why you would kind of have to look at possibly trading a Shortbrook or Castellanos.
Yeah, you got to free up some money for somebody like that. We are we just going to be trying to go after all the Dodgers retreads?
I mean, if they're hitting 300 and I mean, with a slash line like that, why the hell not?
I mean, but when they come to Philly, it changes.
True.
It changes.
True.
They were talking about Justin Tucker earlier this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, the I like the way the Phillies are currently constructed. I really do. Um, I, I would like to see their pitching get stronger. I would like to see them add, and I don't think it's really possible, but I would like to see them add a strong number two that will make Nola a number three. But I'm sure Nola probably wants to get paid like a two or a one. And to push him down to three, you're gonna have to add somebody that gets paid as like a two or a one. And you ain't gonna be able to pay him that money like a two or one being a three. So with all that being said, I know the business is not gonna be too businessy in this favor. And like you had mentioned last week, they couldn't come to a deal over the summer. I mean over the winter last year. And he didn't want to negotiate during the season. So
Right.
like you said, he was good in parts of the season, but he was better in September and October. And then the last game that we needed, he didn't come through, but neither did the bats. I'll just put it that way. So there you have it. One more thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know how this slipped through the cracks. I feel like it slipped through the cracks a little bit. Not really, because if you look at the title of the show, you know what we're talking about. The Eagles play the Cowboys on Sunday night, or excuse me, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. It'll be night. Well, the clocks go back this weekend. So anyway, let me not try to be too technical. Eagles play the Cowboys this week. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be a great game to watch. I'll be watching most of it. Of course, I have the 10-7 show starting at 7 o'clock on Sunday night, right here on New Twist Radio. You'll get the link.
You'll just have to delay the start of that.
Yeah, probably not going to happen because the ladies could care less. So that's probably not going to happen. But Eagles Cowboys rivalry. They had on the news today that like there was people coming from all over the world just to watch this game. People coming from the UK just because of this game. They're not even necessarily like Eagles fans or Cowboys fans, but they wanted to be in this atmosphere for this game. People coming from New England that are Patriots fans coming down here to root against the Cowboys. All types of craziness going on, and I for one can't wait for Sunday at 4 o'clock, 4:25, whatever it is. I can't wait, to be honest. I cannot wait. I haven't been this excited for a football game in a while. Like I'm really excited for this game, not because I think the Eagles are going to win. I do think they will win, but I'm just excited for this game. Like as much as I hate the Cowboys, I think it's just Michael Parsons. Like I think I like to see Michael Parsons work. I like to see him get shut down against the Eagles, but I like to see him work any other time. Like I wish he didn't have that star on his helmet. I wish he played for somebody else.
Didn't he make a comment that he wished he played for us too?
I don't think he really made that comment.
Oh,
I think that was like made. I don't think he really made that comment. But I'm not sure. He could have made a comment like that, maybe taken out of context. But I don't know if you heard about this, Miguel. I think it might have been on Michael Parsons' podcast. He was calling for all Dallas Cowboy fans to fill the stadium in Philly and make it like a home game for the Cowboys. First of all, Mr. Parsons, you know that ain't going to happen. There is no way that is going to happen. There will be people that pay thousands of dollars for a seat that won't be able to make it and probably will not sell their tickets to a Cowboys fan. They will probably rather take the loss than sell their tickets to a Cowboys fan.
touche.
And that's real. Like I'm not making that up. Like that's real. That being said, Miguel, how are you feeling about this game on Sunday? Like, are you excited like I am? Like, I'm just excited to see the game. I wish they were wearing the Kelly Greens this Sunday.
That's what didn't make sense to me. Why wear Kelly? I mean, granted we won, but yeah, why wear Kelly Greens for the Dolphins? Nobody cares about the damn Dolphins. With that being said, I think we're going to lose 44-10. No, I'm joking.
Can't
I'm
help
gonna
but.
say that this game makes me a little not nervous, but any division game, just like against the Commodores, right? How they, you know, every division game is always a tough game. And I believe that Dallas has kind of owned us in the regular season, last couple of years especially. So, I mean, granted, we win the important games, which are the playoff games, but this is going to be a benchmark. It's going to be a test. I don't think that Dallas is going to blow us out like they did the Rams last week. And I'm kind of glad that they beat the Rams last week because you know how it is. If they came off a loss, then they'll have a little bit more of an edge, coming in.
Mhm.
So I think that kind of works in our favor a little bit. So concerned about the potential Hurts injury that he may or may not have. But the good thing is we're going to have a secondary playing together for the second game in a row because we know we've been banged up in the secondary all season. So
So your prediction for the game.
I think Eagles win 23-20.
Mm, you're looking for a close game. Call me crazy, and I'm not. I'm really not one to ever call for this. I think the Eagles gonna blow them out. I really do. I really think the Eagles gonna blow them out. Because when you said 44-10 or whatever you said earlier, I felt like that was gonna be what how the game goes in our favor. Um, Dak is due for a bad game, right? He's due for he'll have a bad game and then look like a superstar for 3 4 weeks, and then he'll have a bad game again. He's about due. Okay, and I think this is the week that it happens. Um, I am concerned about the injury to Jalen Hurts a little bit. But if he's out there, I expect him to play to the best of his ability, which I'm sure he will. Um, I want if our offensive line stays healthy enough, I think we'll be all right there. I think we got a whole lot of weapons that Dallas has to worry about, and I think if we can keep Micah Parsons contained, I think Jalen gets a lot of time to make some time. I mean, we got. I mean, think about what the Eagles have now. They got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Julio Jones, who got his first touchdown as an Eagle last week. I know it's not Julio Jones from 7 years ago, but it's Julio Jones. He knows how to get it done. Um, the running game is looking good. I want to remind me to ask you a question about the running game in a minute. Running game is looking good. The defense kind of shows up when it needs to show up. I know we got that bend but don't break mentality still, and I don't like it. But but we don't give up the big play. But we give up a lot underneath, and that is annoying. That's
Yeah.
very annoying to me. That's how I beat people on Madden all the time. But it's annoying to see it happen to your team. Um, Miguel,
Sir.
Kenny Gainwell, what are we doing with him?
We're shutting down his social media for 6 weeks, and he can't order Chick-fil-A for 4. Um, are you referring to the immaturity of responding to a heckler on Instagram during halftime of the game?
So I didn't know when he responded to a heckler. All I heard that he was checking his Twitter or whatever it was at halftime. I didn't know he responded to a heckler.
Yeah, somebody called him an effing bum because remember he had the fumble. I think it was at the goal line, and he responded back in similar kind words. And the heckler was like, "Are you responding to your text at halftime?" So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, come on, bro. Um, so yeah, it's I don't know what it is about immature athletes in Philadelphia. Like, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to be that immature?
It's so funny as I hear you say that, right? As the age that you are and the age that I am, and I know exactly what you're saying, and I feel you on what you're saying. I think about our level of maturity at our age, and then I'm thinking like, what was I like at 24? If if I was as addicted to technology as as people are now at my age of 24, I've probably been doing the same thing. Unless the coach is like no phones and you got Sirianni, as far as I know, there's not a no phone policy.
Right.
Like they never mentioned anything like that. So yes, it was an immature act to respond, but at the same time, it's like this generation is just that. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do.
I hate
Like
this.
you get a phone or an iPad or something, put in your hand and get out the womb, and you never put it down.
Yeah, I hate this generation.
You tell them to get off your lawn, man.
It's not it. You can. It's not even that. It's just dumb. Like, I don't know.
It's dumb. It's dumb. Um, I would like to know why we haven't seen Rashad Penny at all. He dressed for one game.
Yeah, that's always weird when we get a player and then don't dress them. It's like, what, you know?
Yeah, it's very, very strange. The trade deadline is over. We didn't make any moves. I'm wondering if we'll see him at all now. I wonder if they were like trying to move him
Maybe.
and possibly wanted to keep him from getting hurt. Let's see what we got now. I mean, you have even though we got the tush push and all that, but he would be a great goal line option. You know,
Did you hear what Michael Irvin was saying about that? That
about
the Eagles only have two plays: the tush push and then air ball to AJ Brown.
well, I mean, he's wrong, but that's what it's been the last few weeks. That's what's gotten us W's the last few weeks. That tush push and throwing the ball up to AJ Brown and him going to get it.
Yeah, he's just jealous.
He is jealous. He always finds a way to get into the Eagles' business. You know how he does. We still kind of blame him for the whole Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens blow up. Still kind of put that on Michael Irvin. I have not forgiven him for that. Um, I really have. Like I remember watching the interview at work, and I was just like, Michael Irvin is trying to put a dagger in this whole situation that could be great for years to come. Like there are outside forces affecting my favorite football team.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it comes down to they both were immature. McNabb was passive aggressive, and Terrell Owens was very needy.
They both were immature, absolutely. They were both in their 20s at that time too, wasn't it? Yeah, something about that age of 20, man. And that
That's
that,
the
that,
late
that
20s.
decade, it's a lot of decisions that are made that are dumb, and some that are not as dumb. Only once in a while is a 20-year old some person make a smart decision. That's all I'm gonna say
Hmm,
about it. Man, is that did we cover everything? Did we miss anything?
I think for the most part. One thing I will say, as far as the World Series, there's a stat that the this was the least watched World Series in 9 years. So in 2016, when the Cubs were playing the Cleveland Commanders, it was about 20 on average. It was 22.8 million. This World Series only averaged about nine.
which is not surprising, but it's a little surprising because my mom even turned on the World Series a couple of times this year. Not, and she usually turns. I mean, she'll turn on the games like that, but she's not really into it like that. So, not that I felt like there was more people watching because she was watching,
Mm-hmm.
but when I think about the two teams that were in the World Series, outside of the fact that the Phillies played the Arizona Diamondbacks, I couldn't before that series. I could not have named one player on the Diamondbacks outside of maybe Zach Gallen,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have forgot to mention him.
Okay.
And I know I could not have mentioned um, a player on the Rangers. I know it. Like you could tell me somebody like, oh, okay, he played for that's right. But right now I'm trying to think of the dude that he hit the home run in game one and win the game. I can't even think of his name.
Adralis Garcia.
Yeah, him. I mean, and that's not baseball's fault, but it goes back to um, the argument of the playoffs having the top teams have a bye week or whatever you want to call it. They have a bye.
Mm.
Um, if you're one of the top teams in baseball, you don't become terrible in a week. I know there's a lot of time there. You got rhythm, you got momentum, and all like that. I get that. I understand that. But it's not an impossible task to beat teams that you've been beating all season. It's not. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But you brought this up because of the TV ratings. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of the segue to it because I think there was an interview with Rob Manfred, who's the baseball commissioner. Um, kind of alluding to the fact that it's good that the big teams kind of lost for next year. It'll kind of show them that there's other ways to win a game besides the home run. You know what I mean? Because
mhm.
again, like all I can see is Corbin Carroll singling and doubling the heck out of the Phillies in Game 7, and then Ketel Marte hitting a triple. Like there wasn't any like big home runs. They were just hitting the ball and scattering it all over the place. Whereas with the Phillies, it was like once we couldn't figure out how to hit home runs, we were just like, oh, what do I do? And they did nothing.
The Diamondbacks were professional hitters. I know probably the common sports fan that doesn't really understand baseball is not going to understand what that means. But for everybody that does understand baseball, Arizona Diamondbacks were professional hitters,
Yep.
and that's going to happen. If you're a team that hits home runs, you live and die by that home run. If you're a team that lives and dies by the three in basketball, well, guess what? If you're a team that lives and dies by the long pass in football, guess what? At some point, it ain't gonna work out. Plain and simple. At some point, it ain't gonna work out,
There you go.
and it'll be devastating to your fan base. Devastating to the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I think we're gonna get about it. Is it time to get up out of here, Miguel?
Just about.
Coach Santa.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let me try to find my doggone on my animation so we can get up out of here. But while I'm doing that, I want to thank y'all for checking us out on the Checkswing podcast once again here on New Tools Radio. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, New Tools Radio. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow the Checkswing podcast on Instagram, and make sure you are checking us out every Friday evening here on New Tools Radio. So for Miguel and myself, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us. We'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.